Alright, so before we begin, I was editing this video, which is all about how disgraceful the lack of preservation on StarWars.com is, and I found this old ad while combing through archives from the early 2000s for Darth Maul Shadowhunter, so I thought I'd share that before we get started.
His icy stare makes your blood turn cold and your heart stop. Yet, you still want more. Now follow the treacherous journey of Darth Maul in the gripping new book, Darth Maul Shadowhunter, now available wherever books are sold.
Hey guys, this is Justin. Hello and welcome to another video. So I was in the midst of working on something else when an issue which has bothered me for a long time once again reared its ugly head, and I thought I'd pause my ongoing research and just sit down and talk about it, because this is something I feel like as Star Wars fans, we could perhaps actually change, or at least affect some change. I want to talk about how this new era of Star Wars has not only forgotten the expanded universe, which, hey, is their right, I suppose, but also generally forgotten the brand's history. Why is this coming up specifically? Let's talk about StarWars.com. StarWars.com has been around for a long time. According to Wikipedia, which I've got no reason not to believe, it launched in 1996. I very clearly remember going there for games as a kid to watch trailers, but I also remember StarWars.com had a ton of exclusive, awesome content. Everything from databank entries to articles to exclusive hyperspace content. I am beyond serious when I say there was so much good, interesting content on StarWars.com, and growing up as fan wikis were trying to get their feet underneath them, StarWars.com was a really great source for not just content around the films, but also expanded universe stuff. If you ever browse the endnotes for pretty much anything on Star Wars Wikipedia, you'll see that oftentimes the sources will attribute certain information to the old databank entries or exclusive articles or content. As an example, I was looking up some research for Sarkev Quest for a future video. I went to the notes and references section at the end of his wiki page, and you can probably see that there are lots of good sources from StarWars.com which probably have exclusive and unique information. I was looking specifically for one of my favorite articles, The Emperor's Pawns, which I was definitely going to reference, but I've never actually read Droids, Technology, and the Force, A Clash of Phenomena, which was on Hyperspace on StarWars.com, and there's also Aliens of the Empire. So why don't I just read them? Well, when Disney took over Star Wars, they decided to completely wipe nearly 2 decades of expanded universe content. Not just articles, by the way, but also forums and message boards, exclusive behind-the-scene content for movies, just a wide database of expanded universe, prequel, and original trilogy characters, all gone for no reason. I fully understand that Disney wants to focus its marketing and its, outwardly facing website on its new projects on the sequel trilogy and beyond, the Disney Plus stuff they're doing, but there's no reason why they couldn't have kept the old content up, perhaps with a banner, or perhaps somewhere on the site where you simply wouldn't click on it accidentally. Maybe under a Legacy tab or Expanded Universe tab. I don't know. What I do know, however, is that some content has been straight up lost and other content is at risk of being lost. Thanks to Archive, most of what was there is saved in some format, though obviously the pages are no longer fully functional. Some of the in-page URLs are broken, and let's be honest, there's a very real possibility at some point that the Internet Archive itself ceases to exist. Some of the content to this day is only saved in transcriptions on fan forums or in screenshots. That's just not ideal. I remember the databank fondly. Unfortunately, I obviously can't access it anymore. Wikipedia has a nice image, but I remember you could click on something, it would show you what films they were in or whether they were in the expanded universe. And I mean, look at all the entries we got here. We got Etienne Abbott from the Black Fleet Crisis with his own entry. that's pretty cool. I also pulled up this random entry for Dornian gunship, and we've got great information here. The size of the vessel, its armament, a full history. Like, what's the point of removing all of this? I don't know. Exploring StarWars.com meant a lot to me as someone without the money to buy every book or every comic or even many of the books or comics. This was a free way to just explore the universe. And my genuine hope is that this content is not lost forever. Hopefully they've just flipped the switch off, which turns the pages off, because this is good stuff that as fans we should want to see. It's a part of the history of the brand, and there's no reason for it not to be properly preserved. To me, and I know I'm taking this personally just because of how sad it makes me and how much it annoys me, it feels spiteful. I will say it's my understanding, and obviously my memory is not perfect here, that some of these changes were actually made before the Disney purchase of Lucasfilm. Hyperspace, for example, I believe started to be pushed away earlier than that, but I don't know. The site is also just really disappointing now. Even with shows like Star Wars Rebels, StarWars.com did a good job of providing behind-the-scenes details, trivia guides. That's all been really falling apart, and with now Skeleton Crew, it was really bad. Anyway, I was going to end the video there, but I've just been thinking more and more on this topic, and it just feels to me like Star Wars is misusing the really vibrant fandom they do have. Now, I've advocated for animated retellings of some of the more popular Star Wars legend stories, sort of like how DC will do animated versions of some of their most popular Superman, Justice League, or Batman comics. I think it would be great. But even if that's not the approach they go down, the new Essential Legend collection, I think, has proven that there's still an appetite for the Star Wars expanded universe. Why do they not have someone like me making easily digestible lore videos for their YouTube channel? Why do they not do that even for Star Wars canon? You know, the Star Wars show was really cool, but there hasn't been a new episode of the series in 4 years. Right now, when we're really getting nothing from the brand in terms of big projects, we need these community-led features, or these community-focused features at the very least, now more than ever. I honestly feel like Star Wars as a brand is just actually really far behind, especially considering its size, when it comes to new digital media. Anyway, my 2 points. One, I really, really hope that content from the past 20 years has been preserved, and I implore the people in charge to put it back online. It was a major part of a lot of our growing love for Star Wars in the early internet era. For 2, this recent point, let's get better with new media generally. Hire someone like me, but less expensive. You can't afford me, to make engaging content on the books and expanded media. I'd say do Legends too, but if you want to only do canon, fine. But we're in an age where this stuff doesn't need to be book only. Like, you can, for a very reasonable price, engage with your fans and just make interesting and good content. But that's all I've got. See you next time.